Alright guys, we're back. Game number 2. Myrmidons took game 1. They'll be playing off the red side of the screen. These are not the right picks and bans production, please. Go away. And there they go. They came on and they went straight on back off. Wrong show. They got on stage early. Let's try this one again. It's moonmen against Myrmidons with now a freshly cleared off picks and bans slate. They're already coming out very quickly though. Emir banned out. There's that Hades ban once again onto Mogao. That's kind of throwing a wrench in their plans as well. There's so few bans available right now that having to focus ban somebody out is going to be a problem.
And Alposh banned out and taken away from Titans. He won't be playing that this game. No, sirree. I do not expect Chaac. Well, I mean, moonmen are actually on the red side. Myrmidons are going to be blue side once again.
They didn't switch. My mistake. All sorted out. That makes more sense until the Alposh band's like, wait a second. Something's fishy here. Now we're correct. Myrmidons up 1. I had the score on the correct side at least. I showed that Myrmidons won 1. I just had the team names on backwards. I was close. I was halfway there. Leave me alone. Thor first.
Hashtag blame Adonis.
Yeah, and Hindu. It's those guys' faults. They've been sitting here. They've been in chat all day. They're on their Smurfs.
Surely.
Smurfs.
Yep.
Nevertheless, Thor first picked once again. Didn't see him for a week or two, and suddenly he's back, and everyone's playing him to varying degrees of success. Ares is going to get picked up once again. King Toad taking that one away from Dardes this time around, and lucking the Athena as well. So that's going to be a solo lane jungle, or maybe even a possible mid lane Athena. Although I don't expect that too much. It's only been played once or twice in the SPL. With, you know, it worked both times, admittedly, but probably not what we're going to end up seeing.
And Agni this time to come through from Titans looks to be the hover coming through from Myrmidons at this point in time. I do expect, yeah, I was about to say, I do expect them to lock that in. That seems to be Titans' fallback pick when they're not looking to pick up an Alposh. I don't want to see Chaac this game. We were discussing it in between games. It's a safe farm lane that gets beefy and then does nothing. All it does is run around in fights and sit in the middle of them. If you get that silence off, that's it. That's all you're good for.
Yeah. Chaac is he's a lane bully who then translates mid-game into a decent force in a team fight. He's not a warrior you can just leave in the solo lane to farm for half an hour, and then he shows him he turns up a team fight and it's just this unkillable monster who's dishing out damage and throwing people all over the place like Hercules. He's not a hyper carry like Vimana is. You need to make use of him mid-game, and so often you see Chaac picked up and just like they leave him in solo lane to farm, and by the time he joins team fights, it's like, okay, you're silencing, like I said, silence us, slow us down a little bit, and throw axes. You're a meat shield, and that is just it. You're offering nothing else to the fight.
Yeah, and this is a farming matter as well. You know, you pointed out, oh yeah, he's a warrior, he got behind, we're gonna just leave him in the lane to farm. If he gets behind, by some miracle, if Chaac gets behind, that's it, he's out of the game, right? You can't leave him in that lane to farm. And this is the farming meta, right? You're gonna see a bunch of hunters, you're going to see a bunch of Hercules. Hercules is just absolutely fantastic at the moment in that solo lane. Yeah. And these are the guys that can do well with farm. Hunters need that farm. They need that farm to get going. But Hercules, he can do well without it. He can just be beefy, be a front line, do a heap of damage without having to have that farm online.
Hercules also offers a lot more utility. I mean, even if you fall behind slightly, you throw that boulder, it does a lot of damage just from base damage. The pull, you pull somebody, it does damage. Driving strike, you're going to throw somebody into a wall and stun them out for a couple seconds. So even if you're behind a bit, you're still going to have an effect on the team fight. Chaac, well, you have a little bit of health to let the enemy team burn through. That's about it. Apollo will get locked in, though, as the 80 carry on the side of Moonmen. Probably not going to see a double hunter comp out of those guys. On the other side, Anhur locked in, and they're going to pull the Chaac out again. This time it's Myrmidons doing so. Maybe these guys know something we don't. I mean, Chaac in competitive level tournament play, even outside SPL, outside Challenger, the win rate on here is a little deceptively high, guys. It's overall play for Challenger Cup over many, many moons. You can see the low pick rate. I know when I was doing some of the community tournaments, I was tracking sets for those. Chaac had something like a 4% win rate. It was like single-digit win rate. I'm not just like, oh, he got played 10 times, that's where it ended up. It's like he was played like 40 times and lost like 38 of them. It was something stupid like that. Yeah. So we were talking about it. We don't know. Maybe Mogao can pull it out and do a little bit better with it. They could maybe stick it in the jungle as well because they have. No, they have
I don't like it.
Yeah, I don't know.
I just don't like it. It's like dooming yourself to fail. What do we go? We're into Hercules. Hercules can sit in that lane and farm for forever. Oh, we've hit mid game. Oh, unless it's got to be the slow from rain dance. That's like the only thing it can be. They can pick Tyr. They can pick if you want more damage. Good Bakasura. He's a lane bully and he can dive like incredibly hard. If you want to dive buddy for Thor, there are so many more picks on the table. You don't have to go with Chaac.
Yeah, this one I think if Mogao plays this Chaac at all like as Hades, he was roaming around the map as Hades at like 5 minutes into the game. He was not afraid to say, the tier 1 tower's still up, whatever. We're going to look for a team fight. We're going to look for mid-harpy fight. If he roams around early as Chaac, that whole big early game lane bully presence is going to have a big factor in the early team fights and grouping up as well. So they could potentially make this work quite well. But they need to make sure they're not just leaves, and you know, the way Mogao plays, I don't see this be the case. If they leave Chaac to farm in that solo lane, it's not going to work. But if they have him rotating around early on in the laning phase, if not mid-game, it could really work well with their team comp that they have. So we'll have to see exactly how that plays out here in just a little bit. Yeah. Alright, so the anti-ghost timer, guys, it is a ticking on down at this point in time. Got about 2 minutes left on that one, plus another minute or so for us to get ourselves set up and ready to go with the game itself. So we'll be back here in just a few for you guys. So hope to see you still here. We'll see you in just a few. Alright guys, hello and welcome back. It's time for game number 2 of the finals. It's Myrmidons facing off against moonmen. And the teams are actually right for once! Yay! Sometimes I do things right. I don't have to change it. Although, I want to double check something we can't see beyond the game starts yet. Oh, so close. Scored an update. Whatever. It's done. No one saw anything. We're set and good to go. Myrmidons took game 1. Alpwash made his way through, and Tynes was able to put that to good use and lead his team to victory. This time around, you know, we're talking about Chaac pretty at length. They're trying to go that route, maybe just Caster's Curse, like, oh, Chaac, we don't think he's good. Let's pick him and prove that Caster is wrong. His early game aggressive play, we saw him do quite well with Hades a couple times so far today, so we'll see if he can do that again on Chaac this time around. Or if maybe, you know, maybe just Chaac doesn't do too well overall in competitive play. Who knows? We'll have to find out. The game's underway. Buffs are about to be spawning in just a couple seconds. We'll find out soon.
Solo queue, he can be a surprise, right? He can rotate early, he can toss the axe over the wall and jump to it. That's the ability he has, right? He can just suddenly show up in your lane from over a wall and be a problem. But this is competitive. This is entirely different. The communication is online, and there's going to be a no-buff start for the right-hand side of the map.
Yeah, they're definitely, it basically came down to the invade. Moonmen wanted to take that buff away from Chaac. They have the double hog. The other side, actually, Chaac not going that route, going for that steel mail rush for that early mystical mail. They look for the steal. Myrmidon just said, no, we're not going to have it. To be fair, on paper, Guardian Warrior will typically out-invade, out-fight early game an Assassin Warrior composition. But they weren't actually able to make use of that one. We're going to head back to the jungle, start to pick up some of these buffs. We got a little too focused. Apparently a pull from Dardes locked up that kill. Double kill coming out for the team as Jermaine picks up number 2 for that one. 1 for 1. Dual lane. Off to a little bit of a rough start for those guys.
Is this NA? I don't think we're in the right region. I think we're spectating a match from the opposite region where everyone just fights all the time.
This is the Myrmidons are a French team as well. They're Les Myrmidons. Go fancy. The French historically not necessarily known for their early game aggressive winning, but this time around Myrmidons seem to have the answer to this one overall. See Loyal Zebra get caught by another Verdant Growth. They're still level 1. King Toad just hit 2 as a Loyal Zebra. It's a 2-level advantage right now in this dual lane.
They're a minute 30 into the lane, and they've got no attack speed buff.
Yeah.
Apollo's in trouble.
The wave clear is just not going to be there up against an Anhur who has very good wave clear. Granted, it's very mana intensive, but they have Dardas as well for those AoE hands. I don't want to say this dual lane is done quite yet, but oh, that's not good. Impaled to the wall. Zebra is so glad right now he did not look for a
you can't go forward. You cannot go forward. Look at the sustain from Dardes. He just turns the wisp spawn, and even though King Toad put a Searing Flash on, and he's got minions beating on Dardes, he's just so far level behind that Dardes is just like, yo, wisps. Wisps, brother. Wisps.
Yep. Look at that tower already. This is going to be a 3-minute tower if they keep doing what they're doing. They need help from Hecules, but Hecules is having to help out Rapio in that mid lane. Scylla's wave clear early, especially up against Tynes' Agni, is going to be an issue. And you know, with the jungle hanging around as well, it's like dual lane is winning handedly. If Shock and Smash just stays mid, we force Hecules to also stay and focus mid, and Dueling can keep doing what they're doing. And now they're going to freeze this wave. The Nai farm complete. Look at where Dart is and Jermaine is. He's waving. The taunts are coming out like, hi guys, look at this minion farm. We're just letting die to minions because we don't even need the last hit because you're getting nothing right now.
Rapio, though, in the mid lane off a taunt coming through from Hecules. That's the I'm a Monster reset. Was looking for Agni as well.
Didn't see that one coming. They got wrecked.
When you gotta reset, man.
Yeah.
You gotta use that reset.
So Harvey Camp's gonna be spawning Dardes, and Tyne's gonna pick up the left side camps. Faintly is able to pick up the right side for herself, so a nice little boost for her. The way this game is going right now, you touched on how, are we watching an NA game? We don't see this aggression coming out of EU. And it's something that can throw a wrench in a lot of this team's plans. Everyone's EU. Oh, everyone's going to just farm for 20 minutes. Maybe, someone gets horribly out of position, we'll kill them because, haha, you were in a bad place. You don't see this heavy aggression coming out from these teams. And a lot of teams, I think, may not necessarily be that used to fighting it. So, what if we be aggressive? It'll work quite well because teams aren't used to it.
On the plus side, right-hand side of the map, they can leave, from Myrmidons and moonmen, they can leave this right-hand side of the map totally just... No one touches it, right? And we're going to see no junglers, no mid laners over here. It's such a struggle to kill both of these guys, and they've both got sustain, they've both really haven't got the hugest killer pressure under the opposite side. Just leave those guys alone to farm. That means that you can put aggression down on the opposite side of the map. You've got 4 people in just 2 lanes that are going to be constantly in and around there. Myrmidons, yeah, they've got the Chaac, but maybe this is one of those wins to chalk up in his column. To chalk up in his column.
Haha, I see what you did there. After this next wave of minions, though, he has the golden hand right now to go back to base and pick up that mystical mail, finish that one off. And then I want to see him start roaming around the map and using that early game pressure as Chaac. Give up that tier 1 tower to Hecules. As long as you can make a kill or 2 happen elsewhere on the map because of your rotation, losing that tier 1 tower is not the worst possible situation. Hecules also has a hand of the gods already built up. He's not going to have the... If he goes teleport, that's it. There's no other option to actives. Chaac, on the other hand, he can pick up teleport and still have something, say, heavenly agility, help the team. Go for the weakening curse, shut down some of the movement speed, shut down attack speed. This movement speed and healing rather. There's so many options that he can actually have because he doesn't have that hand of the gods picked up already.
I mean, Hercules isn't locked into going the route of a teleport either, so you just sort of got to keep an eye on what's he going to be going. Keep it in the back of your mind. I don't expect Chaac to be picking up an active. The only active he'd be thinking about going would be the Hog before Hercules picks up his second active. Just because, it's bait and counter bait, right? Draft phase, pick and counter pick, warding control, pick and counter pick on those wards. Yeah. This is all what it's about. It's about that mind gaming and forcing your opponent into a strategy.
Yeah, but you said the active, counterpicking the active is going to be the big thing. Hercules cannot safely buy an active until he sees Moga have both of them picked up. Left side fight breaking out. King Toe going to take a lot of damage from Desert Fury. The dot from Dardes will secure that kill. Tyne's looking for a little more damage. Zebra will use the moves to get back to the safety of the tower and survive otherwise. The counterpicking on the actives, like you're touching on, if Hercules locks in anything with teleport, all Moga has to do is pick up teleport, and he just gained an absolute ton of mobility over his opponent in lane. Like, I'm going to stay in lane, wait for the opportunity to teleport somewhere else for a fight, and then I'm gone. You have to walk across the lane. You're going to be late for the fight.
Yeah, I mean, he can still go Rage of the Gods if he really wants to, because that's offering something to the team. That's a stun that way. If he gets the silence off and then rages on top of them for a stun, that's bead forcing just from a Chaac. That's an option. It is not. Yeah, it's not something. Weakening curse. That's a little bit of a better option. That can also burn beads. It's just up to. You've got the ability to go whatever the heck you want. You're not locked into anything. That's the thing. You can be totally versatile with both of your active slots.
Left hand side trying to save the tower. Loyal Zebra will use it across this guy's back from base to try and buy time. The impale back on the tower. The tower will fall. The pillar dropped down. He came up to get away, but took a lot of poke. Oh, and he's not getting out of that one alive. Shock and smash from half across the map to secure that kill.
Yeah, but he might not be getting out of this one as King Toad's got the Searing Flesh, trying to do what he can, but look at that. Just going to drop down the Shifting Sands from Jermaine and be totally fine on the side of that Thor. They get another kill. Look at this.
Watch this match in the jungle right now. Mogao is just going to constantly be fighting a pointed gnome on that Hercules. He's rushed for those warrior tabi. He has no physical protection. He has no magical protection online. He has the magic cudgel. It's not offering him much of anything at all. Mogao is going to be out trading him handedly. He may not even look to clear out the wave. Instead, look at him. He doesn't care. He said, I know, you just use your abilities. Now I can just ignore the minions entirely and look to kill you. Pointed Gnome just went back to base. He's maybe going back to base here in the very near future, because that mana buff is nowhere near back up. Having to use mitigate wounds pretty much on cooldown is just going to drain that mana pool so quickly.
Yeah, so at least Mogo is in the advantage. He's in the power slot at this point in time because Myrmidons are ahead, and they can use this, right? They can use this to poke in and around the Gold Fury. What are they gonna do? They've got an Apollo. Yeah, he can use it across the skies, but that's it. Like if he burns that and comes in deep, he's so far behind on levels and gold and XP and everything that he's just like a walking stack of gold if he comes in with the ultimate on this one.
Is it a once-off French? We could cast in French for a little while.
I actually did French at high school. I'm not very.
That's
really
me too.
fluent.
We casted high school French. Je suis Arden and il smite and the Agni.
Je m'appelle. It's je m'appelle. No, je suis Agni.
You're right. You're right.
King
Jermaine with the
Toto.
Desert Fury coming in. French. Silly languages. Yeah, je suis. I don't know. French.
Et maintenant, parlez-vous l'anglais?
You apparently focused more on your studies in high school than I did. Jermaine, mid lane, surrender row coming out. We'll see if that one actually goes through. Pointed Gnome cleans up with that baseball rolling through the mid lane. As Chaac and Smash will barely survive that final tower shot, able to sneak his way on out. Tynes gets pulled in. Looking like he might survive, though. Path of Flames.
Uh-oh, across the skies is coming in. Can he get the cleanup? He's looking for Chaac and Smash from the Apollo. Not quite going to get onto it, but he will get on towards Tynes and the taunt. Little Zebra will help him out, but Jermaine's got the damage to put one back in the other corner.
Yep. Yes, I saw this bunch of fromage. Now, all the women are going to want me. From what I've learned from Dexter's Laboratories, that is the thing to say if you're going to learn one phrase in French.
Defender of Olympus in the mid lane. Jermaine is going to get jumped on with this one. He's got no mana. He can't just jump out of this one. And King Toad with the Searing Flesh is going to get one back in the corner of the Moonmen. Wow, that was absolutely beautiful. That was just a good play. Both Guardians managing to team up well.
Yep, so Moonmen answering back this game, taking that graph up on the table. They had a little too much aggression coming out from Myrmidons on that mid lane tower siege. Left side, a bit of a back and forth skirmish. King Toad taking a lot of poke and pressure, but able to kind of sneak his way back out. Although, once again, Chaac and Smash on the hunt. Gonna not hit that one. The blink will get him out safely, but wasn't actually needed. Though, to be fair, the follow-up Tectonic Rift and Hammers and Berserker Barrages and Spin to Wins, much like that, could potentially have resulted in his death had he not blinked out of that one.
It's not something you want to leave to chance, right? You just want to kind of get out of there. All right, I'm safe. Yeah, I burned a cooldown. I burned a little bit more. But when you're trying to run away, when you're confirming a kill, you don't want to burn over too much. But to get away when you're trying to keep yourself alive, burning that little bit too much to confirm that you're getting out because of the gold that it will confirm in the opposite direction if you do die, and the loss of experience and gold generation for yourself, it's worth it.
For sure. Some sentry warding going on. They know wards have been placed deep within their jungle. They want to clear those out. The blink grab, not quite going to find King Toad. They were looking for that. What would potentially have been an easy pick if that had been connected. Might be a mid lane trying to be prepared to sentinel if needed. Tynes laying down the hurt with those bombs. So, Gold Fury. It's 2 minutes out right now. Oh, Tynes not in a happy place right now. Under the tower, taking those shots. Not damage just from Pointed Gnome. Not quite there right now.
Yeah, so Pointed Gnome is at least going to be getting there with the Runeforged Hammer and going on that path. Mystical Mail already online means that Chaac does at least get some bonus damage, right? That's a benefit of these Solo Lena's itemizations. He will at least bring some more AoE to the table, I guess. But it's not much. It's not all that much at all. 40 damage per second and only within a 25 radius, right? That's tiny. So, you know, Chaac is starting to get to that point where he's in trouble and not relevant in the game. Rapio, sorry, he won't be relevant in the game if he's dead, but he managed to live through this one. He's looking for a reset. He wants an excuse to come in here, but so does Apollo.
Over the wall, Rapio connects with the Alma Monster to find that kill. The reset's active and available. Who's he going to go for? Well, he has a couple people in front of him, so why not hit Jermaine? Now, can he stay alive? The Crush does a bit more damage. He has to back off. Here comes the Pointed Gnome. Look for the cleanup. The Boulder about to come out. This could be a big on-strike through the team. Driving Strike connects for the kill into Dardes. The kill secure on that one for a Pointed Gnome as the rest of them run away. Chaac and Smash with a good wall to stop the chase.
Well, Myrmidons going a little bit deep into Moonmen's jungle and being forced to pay for it, and Hercules is the one rotating. Mogao is sitting over here in the solo lane getting absolutely nothing out of that. He opted to go for a sprint. So this is going to be a heavenly agility from him.
He's going for the more aggressive approach to a Chaac. In late game, he's not really that unkillable bruiser like a Hercules will be. He's going to look to damage out, just stick to somebody, just force out, force Loyal Zebra to back off, force Rapio to back off, and just not really have an effect on the fight. He'll be able to do that in a little bit, especially if that's an Executioner picked up, or possibly even a kin size if he wants to go for that bigger kind of luxury item, if you will. If he goes for the kin size as well, he'll be able to do a decent bit against the point number Hecules. But not going more tanky defensive kind of hybrid items, he's not going to be quite so tanky. So once Loyal Zebra gets some items online, and once Crit comes online, he's really not going to be able to go toe-to-toe with him anymore.
Yeah, so, interesting pickups. Oh, what do you expect it to be? Do you want it to be the Executioner more so, or the chin size itself? Which one would be your individual pickup in this situation?
It depends basically who wants to go for. The Executioner is kind of the better all-arounder, but with tanky guys on the front line, there's passive, the physical penetration on the item as well. So Executioner's gonna get it online, don't have to wait for an extra 600 gold or so. You get that item that much more quickly. The next team fight, you'll have it available. Sitting on that Balance Blade for an extra 2-3 minutes means you're not going to have those extra stats from the Executioner for fights. The Executioner probably the better overall pick. If he comes out of this team fight with a lot of gold, he could go for the kin size as the fight starts. No escape onto a bunch of them. Gonna find a lot of pulls.
Rapio is going to be the first target to burn. Dardes lives with a sliver of health, and Tynes is looking for failures on the backside. Loyal Zebra, duck and smash. He's okay to deal with him, and that leaves Jermaine to deal with King Toad.
That was kind of funny there on the camera. I'll talk about that in a second. King Toad about to be locked down and will fall. Yeah, went for the over-the-shoulder view on Tynes. He just kind of looks in and is like, what the hell just happened to everybody? They were just here, and now they're not. We got pulled in. That was like a 4-man pull from no escape, and the damage rained down. The Wrath of Terror came out, and all the abilities, and suddenly Moonman just were not in that fight anymore. Backside, pointing up, trying to do it again. 1v4 as the Hecules joins this one up. The turnaround is happening right now. Pointing up, though, low on health, mitigate wounds. On cooldown, still ticking away, trying to do what it can, but he may only barely survive this one, but not before finding Shock and Smash, who got left on his own.
Bailey's looking to make some distance, though, and now it's going to be the ultimate coming in from Loyal Zebra. He can rejoin this fight as well. Dardes will get burst through and picked up by Rapio, so that's one in the corner of him, and he's going to start to scale as well. They're looking for Jermaine, but he's just going to use the Despair to get on out. Sorry, Disperse to get on out of there. What can they find, though, on the backside?
Have Moonmen actually had a full 5-man grouping for a fight yet?
No, this is it. This is going to be the first one. Jermaine got Iman monstered up. The no escape went into the air, but didn't even grab on towards Jermaine. They're still trying to burn through this gold free. Will secure it, and now Jermaine with the Desert Fury.
Man, I'm pretty sure King Toad looking to chase down some kills, as is Mogao. Shackle's going to be broken off as Dardes will go ahead, or King Toad, excuse me, will go ahead and back off from that one. I'm not entirely sure, but as these fights begin, I'm fairly sure Moonmen have not actually had all 5 members grouped up when they've been starting these fights, and they've been paying for it because of it. They found some picks. Look at the graph, you can see it's kind of like it's stabilized a little bit, but that gold fury is now dipped back down towards even. Experience pretty much even right now as well. Moonmen need to group up and look for these fights. The problem is they're going to these 4v4 fights, 4v5 fights. If they just had the extra man there from the beginning. I mean, look at that cleanup. Hecules showed up, a bunch of Gnome came up, and they'd completely turned that situation around. They stopped the gold fury, came out with a whole bunch of kills. If those guys had been there from the onset, that fight may not have been lost initially at all.
Could be interesting to see how this starts to develop as well, because look at the build coming through from Rapio. He's got the Doom Orb online, he's got a decent amount of stacks, but is this going to be a Warlock Sash next? Surely not. Maybe, wouldn't be an Ethereal Staff, no way. What's he looking to opt for here? Is this a Warlock Sash?
Gem of Isolation is not something you usually see on Scylla. It's a little
yeah,
bit
that's
of
what
extra,
I thought.
It's a little bit of an extra slow to be thrown around, but I don't see that necessarily. It's a little late for the Warlock Sash, but it's 40 some odd stacks, 48 stacks I think, to actually break in with the Ethereal Staff. But at the same time, if they want that boost of health so Rapio can stay alive as long as possible in a fight, getting 600 just for picking up the items is always a nice little benefit.
The blink forward into the Wrath of Terror. Unfortunately, Dardes only catches on towards King Toad. Disperse, forced to back out of this one. They get a stun. It's 2 men, but now it's going to be Tynes running away as well.
Chaac coming around the corner. Dardas finds the one, and this one, the reset is good. Waiting for it. Gonna just find some minions with that second hit. It's 1 for 1 so far. Zebra is going to be looking to run away as Mogao is here first, but Hecules right on his heels, about to come inside the fight as well.
Yeah, Mogao's got the ultimate up, will confirm loyal Zebra, and now what can Appointed Gnome find? He finds the block on towards Tynes, and Driving Strike was good for some damage, but not the knockback as well. They focused on towards Mogao, burn through him, bombs to stun up, but I'm not sure that they can really continue to fight this one out. They've already found their 2 picks at the duo lane, and now they're forced to run away on the side of Myrmidons.
Trying to lock down whoever they possibly can. Disperse is going to be available here for Jermaine. He's going to have to force the impale back. He should be free and clear in the back of that one. They're going to try and lock him down nevertheless. Spurs going to be up in 2-1. He's going to be free and clear over that pit to the Gold Fury wall, or over the Gold Fury wall to that empty pit, I should say. So, good escape by those guys, able to buy just enough time for the cooldowns to come back on up.
Just enough time. Man, just enough time. That was a sliver, like, and you saw Rapier, right? He was like, I've got Crush available, I just need to land 1-2 more in-hands, and I've confirmed this kill, and he jumps over the wall at that same time.
Exactly.
1 second. 1 second.
Close calls, but every once in a while when they actually are able to be pulled off, it can, you know, one less kill for the enemy team. And the way that this game is going right now, it's far from over at the moment. I apologize for background noise. Someone's apparently mowing their lawn right outside the window. That may occasionally get picked up. I'm attempting to deal with it and mitigate that as best as possible, but it's going to happen as they pass back and forth. So I apologize in advance as that repeats itself over and over. The game itself, though, we're just about 19 minutes into once. 13-10 on the kill board. Myrmidons were showing a lot of early game pressure and aggression, but since then, moonmen have found an answer to it.
Jermaine might be caught out here in a second. He got taunted up. He's forced to use the beats to try and get himself out of here, but they've got the damage. This is a dead Jermaine. He's trying to box. Will at least get through, but Rapio on a spree, and suddenly Moonmen back in this game. They've almost leveled it up here, Jordan.
Yep, looking at that graph. Experience has been back to even for a good while. Tyne's going to be forced to Aegis out of that no escape. The shackles immediately apply. Can't path the flames back to safety. Beads going to avoid the taunt as the shackles finally wear off and the cripple fades away. He's able to get back to safety. Dardas
but
now
the taunt was on Dardas.
Yeah.
Can they find a pick, a pluck, anything they can really get up into the end? No, it's going to be nothing whatsoever. But look at Mogao on the right-hand side of this map. He got left alone once in that last game, and he just destroyed. He's doing the exact same once again.
Raining down those bombs in the mid lane. Tyne's not going to find any connections this time around. Mogao apparently was left alone in the soul lane for a moment or two and took some towers at some point in time. Didn't even realize that had occurred. Mid lane, tier 1 will fall as well. So Myrmidons right now doing a good job of pushing these objectives, but I believe that tier 1 just fell for moonmen as well, so they're not losing sight of those objectives in the for the long game. The moves interrupted on Loyal Zebra across the skies, gonna end up channeled in time, able to escape with just under 200 health on his health bar. Gold Fury, Scott, is about to be up in 10 more seconds, and I believe that will be the next point of contention for both these teams. That Vision Ward, you can see on the side of Moonman, already stocking up, preparing for that one.
Yeah, they're looking for it, and let's talk about this Scylla, because we were mentioning how it might be the Warlock Sash. She's come through with the Warlock Sash. She's at 10 stacks, so she is looking to go stack City. If Rapio gets this build online and manages to maintain all of these Doom Orb stacks that he's built up, this is Reset City, and it's going to be a big damage Reset City, and he's going to be tanky at the same time.
So, Kin Size was the item that ended up being picked up by Mogao on that Chaac. He went for that luxury item. Last team fight. Didn't have that execution damage online, so maybe a little bit of a road bump there, a little detour. He finally got there. Kin Size, it's the luxury option. It's going to provide a lot of damage, some attack speed, but they need to find a teamfight victory hero that may backfire.
And the change from King Toad out of 2. He's got the no escape up, but gets killed off before that. Loyal Zebra's in a world of trouble as well. And they're trying to keep Rapio alive. He lives with a sliver of health, but Zebra might not be so lucky. He's getting burned through by that mystical mail. And then now back over to that Gold Fury pit. The no reset coming through from Rapio. Shock and Smash is going to find no.
Yep, Faylee's in a bit of a bad spot. Preemptive strike to get out to safety, but Mogao is right in his path. They're going to look to lock this one down with a kill. Mogao gets that one. Rapio now Sentinel on cooldown. The stuns from Agni coming down. 1, 2. Sentinel back off cooldown. Thunderstrike is a few seconds off, or just chase him. Mystical Mail. Rapio realizing I am not getting away from this one. He's quicker than I am. I may as well just say I'm done. Stand still and accept
Stuck in the
my
Mogao
fate.
mod. He was stuck in the Mogao mod. That's why he was getting slowed up. At 50 stacks down to 25 in that Doom Orb. He's going to need to farm up creep waves, but that's okay. That brings at least his Warlock Sash into the game. The trouble for me here is that Apollo is not finding himself any way to really be able to impact the game. 1, 7, and 6. Zebra needs to just turn around, go, breathe, shake it off, and get back into this game, and he wants to go for a pick.
Yeah, they're going to drop down this one. They're not really able to engage since they forced the reset on the Fire Giant, which is probably the best they can hope for at this particular situation. They need loyal Zebra to be able to go off and split push across the map, but the problem is the way Myrmidons are playing this one, the constant pressure, they need to be ready at a moment's notice to actually respond to that situation. And the positioning and the lack of teams, like, well, they're at the tower. As soon as they get vision on Apollo, they're immediately going to pull that trigger and dive and try and find a pick before Apollo can actually get there. So loyal Zebra just not having the opportunity to actually even start thinking of using the across the sky split push potential that Apollo has.
Yeah, so I mean, he's going to start buying himself into this game, and Jermaine, I mean, he is a hunter, so he's going to always be online, but his only steroid at this point in time is the passive, right? So he's just got armor penetration. That's all he's got in the back pocket. And you mentioned it, Apollo, split push potential. He can go and farm up, get himself into more items, but Shock and Smash wants some aggression.
A little poke back and forth. Harpy Camp's going to be picked up by Rapier right here. Not really worth diving in for to pick up at this point in the game. They're more concerned about staying alive for the Fire Giant fight that's going to be possibly started up here in the next little while. Maybe some farm to pick up left side. Get the Harpies. They're there. Why not take them? But yeah, I mean, this next fight, Moonmen need to either find a perfect initiation and bring down Jermaine and probably Mogao as well at this point in time. But the problem is, as soon as they look to focus one of those guys down, they're going to have to dive so deep to the Myrmidons lineup. They have so much peel, so much zoning potential. You have the walls, the pulls, the roots, the impales, the stuns from Agni. Mogao, you get that field of slowing down that comes out from the Rain Dance, and then you have him to go through as well. Yeah, he's not full tanky bruiser Chaac. He's more, I'm just going to kill you with my giant axe Chaac. But he's still, you know, axe murderer in the middle of your team composition. You need to make sure that doesn't happen too.
Yeah, Appointed Gnome's starting to come online, though, and he went for the Heavenly Agility. The selfish pickup coming through from Mogao's Chaac, he opted to go for Greater Sprint. That's not something we were really considering. I think we're both sort of thinking along the lines of the Heavenly Agility, but the Fire Giant, it's being started up, and it's good. It's down to 70% and below.
Yeah, as Across the Skies piles up in the air, and No Escape does come in. Not really going to find anybody. In the middle is one King Toad in a bit of a bad spot. Zebra drops down into the backline. Desert Fury from Jermaine going to be ripping across the team and find that kill into Zebra.
Unfortunately, the I'm a Monster doesn't reset for Rapier, and he's not going to find anything. Shock and Smash is on his face as well. That's a poor choice of fight. But now Appointed Gnome is just going to get dropped on towards, and they'll finally poop on him and get rid of him out of this fight. Tynes to secure the final kill. Phalas is still alive, and he does have Hog 3, so the steal is still available for the guys on the side of Movement.
It will be tough. He's being zoned out right now by Shock and Smash. He's really not going to have much of an opportunity to go in there. Mogao joining the chase right now, as is Jermaine, making sure there's no chance whatsoever that this Fire Giant buff can be stolen away from them. They'll secure the Fire Giant and immediately turn tail to start rushing towards that right lane. Maybe some free gold, go back to base and buy some items. There's some options for these guys, but right now they're firmly in the driving seat of this match.
Yeah, 23 kills to 11, you kind of expect that from them. I didn't realize we're only 25 minutes in. I was sitting here thinking like 30 minutes in, surely, 30 minutes like plus, but yeah, we're only early into this game. But, I mean, this can be turned around. This can be turned around. Moonmen, Apollo is going to start scaling. King Toad just needs to get some experience on him. And Rapier, we all know what a late game Scylla can do if she just finds that single reset.
Yeah, we were talking about Chaac early on. And it's talking about in chat, really, casters, what about that useless bad Chaac? Well, they're playing Chaac correctly. Mogao did not sit in that lane and farm. The other time tonight we saw Chaac played, he was still staying in lane solo farming. They're making use of the early game pressure and aggression. He's an early game god. You make use of that pressure early game, rotate for fights, mid game, rotate for fights. In this case, build for damage and just be an absolute monster. Chaac can work out. They played him correctly. They used him correctly. Like I said, Hades, the way Mogao was playing that Hades earlier on, if he plays Chaac like that, it will work to pretty good effect. And that's what they did. So Chaac ended up working out for this game. If you pick up Chaac and expect to sit in lane like Vamana and just farm to the 30-35 minute mark, you're not going to have a good game, because by the time you show up to a fight, especially up against like a Hercules is going to be doing all the things, and you're like, well, I can heal sort of and stay alive and I have a silence and that's it.
Oh, Shock and Smash finds Loyal Zebra once again, trying to go for that split push. They haven't got the ward coverage down to assist with that one, so, you know, that's the risk that they run, and unfortunately Across the Skies wasn't able to get him out that time. Moonmen, that was one of their final hopes. They're 12k gold behind at this point, and it's coming into the final siege.
Yep. So left Phoenix is looking good. Mid Phoenix as well. Why not go for a 2-for-1 special here? As King Toad's going to look for the pull, they'll have King Dardes under the Phoenix to tank that one up. That's kind of what he wanted to be doing anyway. Chaac especially knows this one, taking a lot of poke, a lot of damage. King Toad trying now to get back out to safety, juking around, doing the wiggle, trying to stay up and alive. The mystical mail from Chaac, though, will secure that kill as the mid Phoenix falls.
Yeah, this one's not quite over quite yet. Opponent Gnome against the wall. Jermaine's gonna pick him up. And the monster doesn't get any resets, but does some decent AoE damage before Failers will finally drop. Mogao is tanking up the Titan, and that's a lot of hurt that's coming through, but they've got nothing on the backside of it. Zebra doesn't really have the items. Finally, he's gonna pick up the Executioner. He's looking to go for this one. They didn't find the Sikkim, and this fight looks to be over.
Yep, Apollo will fall as he rides back on the ground. It's only Rapio between them and the Titan right now. They have a Phoenix or 2 in the way. They're gonna take 1 or 2 of these more down. To be fair, respawns are about to come up. Why not take 1 more down, just remove those protections, then look for a pick or 2. Rapio, the grab knock effect, but they did not need it as he will fall. King Toad, he might be able to pull something out here, but it's not looking likely as that Titan health is dropping quickly. Respawns 10+ seconds out, and the final kill comes out for that deicide. Game 2 of the finals will be going to the Myrmidons. They're going to take this series in a 2-0 sweep.
Man. Moonmen, they showed moments of brilliance in that game, though. They showed the ability to start coming back in. Appointed Gnome just... He didn't have the same impact that Mogo had in that series. That was the difference between the two teams, right? We saw Mogo in the first game, wasn't on the Chaac, didn't get behind, and he was like, fine. Second game, he gets on the Chaac. Yeah, he went kind of even. He was just a little bit in front of the lane, but then he was able to rotate. Appointed Gnome needs to be the one controlling when the rotations happen, not Mogo.
Yep. Nope. Guys are scarce, guys. Mogao proving that Chaac can, in fact, be very effective at competitive play when he is at least used in a correct manner. So, coming out from that solo lane, very, very strong performance and showing out of him. Jermaine, not to be discounted, sitting 11-2-16 on that Anhur in the second game. He's a bit of a force to be reckoned with in a hunter role as well. He did very well last game. I think he was on Shibalanke. So, someone else to keep an eye on as well.
Yeah, and unfortunately coming through from the side of Moonmen was unfortunately just a really off game from Loyal Zebra. I'm 95% sure he was a sub and he was trying to do his best, but nothing he can do. He just tried and tried and tried, and they focused him down throughout the tournament.
The second game as well, I mean, we saw the early first blood coming out from those guys over in the dual lane. It was the back of Sylvanus pull, best we know. It wasn't on camera. I didn't actually see it, but that's against Sylvanus when you're in the middle of a lane and suddenly somebody dies. That's usually what ends up happening. So we get pulled into the enemy minion wave, and then suddenly it's like, I'm screwed. There's not anything you can really do about it. And that just kind of set the tone for that dual lane for the rest of the game. They came back. They're still level 1. They got picked off very shortly afterwards. They were trying. I mean, they were sticking around with someone. They were evening things back out because they had there was a really steep hill for them to climb after that dual lane getting shut down as hard as it was early on. They were making good use of the fact that, you know, the team composition, they're making good plays on that one. It just basically came down to they weren't able to kind of, once they started clawing back a little bit, the next couple team fights, they weren't going into as 5-man groups, and by the time, you know, we saw Hecules and Appointed Gnome, that one fight by the Gold Fury, by the time they arrived, they were cleaning up, whereas if they had been there from the onset, that fight would have been over in favor of Moonmen just before any deaths even happened on their team.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, them's the breaks. That's how the cookie crumbles.
Yep.
And that's going to influence the points in a couple of different ways. Let's sort of check it out here. Myrmidons, they won. They're up to 150 points. So Six Sigma aren't going to pick up enough points from today to be able to run level with them. They finished outside the top 4, so they finished with 10 bonus points. So that ships Myrmidons up into 3rd place, and that's basically a spot secured for them with that victory.
Yeah, going into week 2, some other seeding situations, they might have to actually fight over 8th slot. You know, basically if they play, they'll be solid and actually sitting pretty in that top 8 finish. But, I mean, it's still, it comes down to seeding as well going into the group stages. Who do you want to be facing against? The better you place, the better you're going to be overall in the group stages. It's 2 groups of 4. It's not a straight up 8-man group stage. So where you end up could be quite important. If you place lower, do you really want to be going against the Poppies, Spicy Waffle, Six Sigma, Myrmidons now perhaps as well? Or do you want perhaps to have an easier bracket where you just place better? So where you end up next week is still going to be important. Even though a handful of these teams are going to have essentially locked themselves in a ticket to that group stage, it's still going to come down to, you get extra practice out of it, extra gems, and it goes on who doesn't love more gems, because gems are awesome. And over in NA as well, a couple teams have pretty much clinched themselves in a seat in the group stages. High Five sitting pretty at 270 points, Resist Gaming 210. They, I believe, can no longer be knocked out of top 8 contention. Beyond that, there's a couple teams potentially who could be. So a couple spots on the bracket for NA as well, still open for the taking. But that said, that's pretty much going to wrap things up for the Challenger Cup for this weekend. SPL is going on over at Smite Game. You can check it out, twitch.tv/Smite Game. I would love to tell you what team was actually playing at this point in time, and I probably should know what team is playing at this point in time, but it flashed on the screen mid-game. Did I actually read the announcement? No. I think it's COG Gaming. No, that's not...
It's Upcoming Stars and Team Dignitas.
That was the one I was thinking of. It's like someone Dignitas, like COG. No, you got it. Upcoming Stars, Dignitas. At least one of us knows what's going on the other channel. Those guys are playing. Go on and check that one out. For Challenger Cup stuff, we'll be back here on Saturday morning, bright and early, 11 a.m. Eastern. Some other... I had this all up and ready. I had a note all written, and I lost the note, so I could rattle off these times
Sunday,
and the issues.
9 a.m. Eastern is your time zone to
here we go.
come and join on EU.
Yeah, it's going to be 11 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time for Europe. It will be too early, in my opinion, 9 a.m. I don't know why you people up before noon. 9 a.m. Eastern, 3/1500 CEST, not GMT, excuse me, on Sunday for the European Challenger Cup. It will be week 5, last week for the group stages. There's going to be a lot of teams trying to lock in those last few spots and continue their hopes at what could eventually lead to a seat at the Smite World Championship down the road. Because again, this is going to be the last Challenger Cup that can bump you up on that route. So this is going to be an important one overall. We haven't really touched on that the past couple weeks. But it's this isn't just it's Challenger Cup. It's a little cash prize maybe against the SPL. You don't make the SPL this split, you kind of can't make Worlds anymore out of the Challenger Cup. So
hi, Australians, we can make Worlds still.
To be fair, wait, the SPL that's coming out for you guys, is that it? Or is there another split after this?
Yeah. No, there's just one SPL, and then the winners from that play at PAX Australia, and we can get a seat.
Okay, you guys can still make that. But a team that entered right now probably still could not. If a North American team decide they're going to move to Australia right now, they probably still couldn't make it in. Just the way that, I don't know whether your format works exactly, but basically, it comes down to one more week for a couple more teams to secure a spot on the path to Smite World Championship, at least out of North America and Europe. Australians, you're upside down, you do things in weird ways. You have an SPL coming up and an invitational thing running right now. Where can people check that out if they want to see what's going on down under?
Well, you can follow me on Twitter. I'll be tweeting out every single time that there's a game. There's actually some games coming your way about 7 a.m. Eastern. No, it's even earlier than that. It'd be about 3 a.m. Eastern tomorrow. That's going to be on Team Down, twitch.tv/TeamDownTV2 is where all your action for the Australian stuff is going down for the moment. Whether that'll be updated when we get our SPL next split, you'll have to come and watch Team Down TV2 so you can find out.
All right, sounds good. So, guys, before we draw out this outro any longer than it already is going, that's going to wrap up the coverage here for the European Challenger Cup. Smite Game, the SPL is going on over there right now. It'll be hosted here in just a moment as well, as soon as we're actually off the air. So go on and check that out if you want more Smite competitive action today. If nothing else, enjoy the rest of your guys' Sunday and have a great week before tuning in back in on Saturday for the North American Challenger Cup. I was going to wrap things up here for today. For hi-rez, my co-caster Rankonius, and myself, thank you for watching and have a great day.